Hey everybody, I'm Rex Ravita.
And I'm Brie Flores.
Thank you so much for joining us for a new episode of What to Watch. Today we are joined by Courtney McBroom, a chef and food consultant for the new Apple TV series, Lessons in Chemistry. So first of all, congratulations on the show.
Thank
and just
you.
to start off, can you tell us a little bit about how you became a chef or a food consultant?
Oh yeah, so actually it all started off, I went to journalism school here in Texas, the University of Texas in Austin, and after that I was like, I don't really want to be a journalist, I think I want to go to culinary school. So I went to baking and pastry school. I worked as a pastry chef in Austin for a really long time, and then I was like, it's time for me to move to New York City. I was like, I know I gotta go, I gotta do it now. I packed everything up in my Toyota Avalon, whatever would fit. I didn't have a job, I didn't have a place to live, and I just entered New York City into my Google map and drove there. It was terrifying. And when I got there, I trawled on Craigslist for a job. I knew I wanted to work at Momofuku Milk Bar because it had just opened, and their sister restaurant had a post. So I emailed them. I was like, hey, I don't want to work for you, but can you pass this over to Milk Bar? And a few days later, I got a call from Christina Tosi, and she was like, come on in. And I interviewed, and I got hired. I became the culinary director, and the rest was history.
Wow, what a unique path. But
I
it
know,
all worked out.
yeah. I know, just like Elizabeth Zott.
Right.
We got this. It all falls into place.
Yeah.
And so how was it like working on the series then?
It was so much fun. It was my first time working on film. I'd done cookbooks before, like photo shoots, but never film. And there was definitely a learning curve, but I caught up quickly. And it was amazing because it was a whole team of people. Like, I've worked in restaurants before, and the focus is just the food, right?
Right.
But on the set with the film, food was just one part of it, of the much larger story that needed to be told. And I was working with the best of the best producers, actors, set design, and it was such an amazing thing to be a part of. And I felt very lucky and very special to get to be there.
So that's a great segue into the next question. So every time the food appeared on screen, I was just like, wow, that looks so amazing. Like every tiny little thing, like the chicken, when the oven opened up, I was like, I'm so hungry. So was there any production tricks? Like, you know how McDonald's commercials, they have to like fluff up the burger and everything? Or is it all ready to eat and just edible?
Yeah, it's all ready to eat. So that's also part of the thing. It's like there's actors actually eating the food much of the time. And so we wanted everything to be delicious and also be authentic to what it would actually look like if you're making it. So we didn't use any huge tricks or anything. It was all real food as we would make it. And the only trick that we'd really do every once in a while is if we'd brush it with oil sometimes to make it glisten.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's really all we would do. Everything was edible. We'd make it as if we were making it for friends and family at home. And we actually were, because there's always leftovers. We'd give so much away to the cast and the crew as they were leaving, and it was really fun. It was great. Able to feed everyone on set.
Right, I'm jealous. It looked so good.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to try that at home as well.
You can. Do you know we're releasing the recipes?
No way, really?
Yeah, so the lasagna recipe is out already. We're going to release the galette, and we have a whole series of recipes coming out. You go to the Lessons in Chemistry website, and they'll all be there.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, we're
gonna look at
You gotta make it.
And so kind of leading up to that as well, what were some of the problems that you had on set when trying to make sure that you have the fresh food right and make sure it looks good, maybe the oil, or can you talk more about it?
Well, the one thing, I would say the most challenging day on set for me, and it wasn't necessarily challenging, it was just very high stressful, is there's a flambe scene. It's in the trailer, so you've probably seen it, where Elizabeth Zott is doing this huge flambe. And so we really did that. It was live fire on set, and everyone was really nervous because you're it's live fire on set. We don't know what might happen. Definitely don't want to burn off Brie's eyebrows. So it was super stressful, but of course, Brie, being the absolutely amazing person, talented person that she is, it was one take, it flared up, and it was just she'd done it every day her entire life. She's and this is what happens when you, I can't remember the exact line, but she just did it perfectly. They yelled cut, and everyone was cheering on set, and it was an amazing, wonderful moment.
So how was it preparing the food on set versus normally cooking in a kitchen at home or a professional kitchen?
Well, I wish that I had a photo to show you of the little kitchen we had. It was like a camp. It's almost like a camp kitchen. It was just they built this like kitchen in the middle of the set with like there wasn't actually there was running water, but it came from like the huge tubs, you know what I mean? Like if you're camping out. And it was challenging. It was definitely challenging, but we put up a bunch of tables, we had speed racks set up, and it just became this amazing like assembly line of like 5 or 6 of us just busting everything out. It was great. It was fun. It was
so did
wild.
you have to make like 20 of each item?
Oh yeah, because you have to have the same thing, like 20 takes of like a lasagna. Like Calvin takes a bite of lasagna. It's not just one take. Like you have to do it over and over and over again. So for continuity, you have to make everything look exactly the same too, which was not something that I had realized until, again, I was cookbooks, photo shoots. When I got to set, that was one of the first things I learned very quickly. I was like, oh, I need a lot of these things, and they all need to look exactly the same.
Wow.
That's a lot of pressure on it too. That's amazing.
I had an amazing team of people working with me. So it was a lot of pressure, but we pulled it off with ease and grace.
Definitely.
I love it. And so, yeah, I don't know what to add as well. I was curious because it's set in the 50s, right? 50s, 60s. And when you're doing foods, it's kind of different instead of time. So what went into the research and preparation for the series?
Very good question. First of all, I'm obsessed with 50s food and like vintage cookbooks. I have a huge collection at home and like the Betty Crocker recipe cards, and I've always been interested in this type of food. I think it's so funny and weird and like cool. So I already knew all of that stuff, but also we made a really important decision early on that we wanted to be like, okay, Elizabeth Zott, she's a woman of the 50s, she's a woman of her time, but she's also very much a woman ahead of her time. And we wanted that to be shown in her cooking. So she makes everything from scratch. She makes everything from the freshest ingredients. She doesn't use like all the canned goods that were often used in the 50s. She doesn't ever make a Jell-O mold, not a single one.
I was waiting for that to appear.
Sorry, that might be a spoiler. There are no Jell-O molds in the show because that's just not Elizabeth's vibe.
Right.
It's, nothing wrong with it. Like it's still an amazing vibe, but that's not how Elizabeth Zott cooks.
For sure.
And we get a first glimpse of that in the first like few minutes, right? When she doesn't want to do that can ad.
Exactly.
It's amazing to see how it kind of ties in together.
Exactly.
So what advice do you have for any aspiring culinary artists or chefs right now that want to take their talent to TV or movies?
I think just do it. I mean, just go do it. But I think, a path, it's not always easy to carve your own path. And I think that's what you kind of have to do, no matter what. And and Elizabeth Zott is a perfect example of that. The way that she stood up in her tenacity, the way that she had her conviction of who she was as a person and kept doing what she knew she needed to do, even though she kept having roadblocks all along the way. And I think if you have a dream and you want to follow that, you're gonna hit roadblocks. And so what are you gonna do about it? Are you gonna give up? Or are you gonna just keep going? Are you gonna pivot and go a little bit different way down the path? That would be, that's all you can do, right?
Right. Great advice.
Yeah.
So just to end out the interview, we wanted to do a couple more fun questions, like quick round.
I'm excited.
Okay.
So first one is, what is your all-time favorite dish to make and why?
I love to do I'm a Texas girl, so I love to do Tex-Mex. I like to do the cheese enchiladas. I like to do the crispy ground beef tacos.
Love it.
Margaritas. Anytime I'm homesick, that's always what I make. Always. It's the best. It's the best.
Me too, and I'm not even from Texas. I just love them all.
Queso. Can't
Oh,
forget
the queso dips. You got to get the queso.
I can't believe I almost forgot to say queso.
We came out of it though. It's good.
So besides the flambe moment, do you have any other funny or just weird moments on set that you remember?
Oh my God, there's this. So this you haven't seen yet, so I don't want to do any spoilers, but there is a strawberry shortcake scene, and they cut, and it's a very brief actually. It's kind of funny how briefly it's shown on the screen versus how much work went into it, but they end up cutting into it, and we had to put slices on a plate, but they kept kind of falling apart, and And so we had to like match the tops and the bottoms, but they had to match perfectly. And so we were backstage, and it was like really fast. They were like cutting and like reset, and like there were 3 of us scrambling backstage. And we're like, oh God, we got to get the cake tops to the bottoms to match, and like it's got to look perfect. And we're just like, blah, blah, blah. So that was, I don't know if it may have been a situation where you had to be there, but it was, we were like sweating. We're like, oh my God, this is the thing that's gonna get us the strawberry shortcake. No. But we nailed it, and it looked great.
Okay, good. Oh, I can't wait to see that one then.
Yeah, keep your eyes peeled. Keep your eyes peeled and know what was happening behind stage
Right.
at the moment.
And last question. What is a number one mishap you had in the kitchen?
That's I have too many to count. I think like professional kitchens. Or one time. So when I first started off as a chef, I was at Jeffrey's in Austin. I don't know if you know that restaurant. And I just started working the line for the first time. I'd never worked a line before, and I had to make the cilantro aioli for the fried oysters. And I used parsley instead of cilantro because at the time I was like, I didn't know the difference. This was years ago. I knew the difference, but not anyway. So I made it parsley aioli for the oysters, and I got in big trouble.
Ooh.
Big trouble for doing that. But I got over it, and I will never confuse parsley and cilantro.
You learned from it.
Yeah. Ever. It's actually not pretty hard to confuse them. I'm not sure how I did it. It's kind of embarrassing. Maybe we'll cut that part out.
My grandma mixed up pancake mix with crab oil or crab mix one time, so I think that that yours was a little better than that.
Yeah. That sounds like some interesting pancakes.
Yeah, they were disgusting. But that was our last question, so we just want to thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
This was so fun.